Here is a reminder of what the air attack warning sounds like. This is the sound. When you hear the attack warning, you and your family must take cover at once. Do not stay out of doors. If you are caught in the open, lie down. And now here is a reminder about fallout warnings. When fallout is expected, you will hear 3 bangs in short succession, like this.
What the hell? Why the Russians blow up my fence for? Supposed to be bombing the Ukraine, not Ukraine. Sheffield, this is Sheffield, not Kiev. Bloody Russians and their bombing, indiscriminate bombing, blowing up my fence. It's gonna be a nightmare to fix. So, the war in Ukraine is going exactly as I said it would. Over 2 weeks ago, the Russians, that's Putin, he wants the whole of Ukraine locked, stock and smoking, blown up barrel.
Of everything that stands the end, no safety or surprise the end. I'll never look into your eyes again. Can you picture what will be so limitless and free, desperately in need of some stranger's hand in a desperate land? Lost in a romance, wilderness of pain, and all the children are insane. All the children are insane.
So the war in Ukraine sparks the trend towards World War III, and unfortunately it could go nuclear, as it emboldens the likes of Xi Jinping to seize the opportunity to launch his own war of conquest for Taiwan. That would act to embolden Putin even further to start massing forces on the borders of the Baltic states so that he can rebuild his Tsarist Russian Empire, beyond which there are countless further escalations as dictatorships across the globe are unleashed to seek to capitalise on growing chaos of war, such as, for instance, the China-India border, Pakistan-India border, and countless other grievances. I'm not even touching the perma-hot potato that is the Middle East, where we have the region's bully boy Israel seizing the opportunity to further grab chunks of neighbouring states, with Syria and Lebanon in its crosshairs, that just like Putin will call upon ancient gobbledygook to justify war in 2022. Then there is the conflict at the heart of Islam, of Sunnis versus Shias, Arabs versus Persians, and countless more such incidents across the African continent and Asia, such as our dear fat leader in North Korea, emboldened by Putin's war in Europe, World War III to join in on the chaos, with maybe some Western nations deploying their own land grabs or similar under the banner of, quote, peacekeeping. Australia comes to mind. They're not, where Australia comes to mind, which in past actions has tended to be no better than Russia, even Nazi Germany. Go look at the history of what the Australians have been up to in the Indochina. And you never know, they might decide to complete their own version of the final solution on the original owners of the continent that Britain planted their flag on some 200 years ago, the Aborigines. So whilst we can hope it doesn't turn nuclear, however, the direction of travel is in that direction, as we've seen with the latest news out of the Kremlin, Putin putting his nuclear forces on high alert. That's not good, is it? So we're going to have a lot more to worry about than stock prices.
Уважаемые коллеги, вы видите, что западные страны предпринимают не только недружественные действия в отношении нашей страны в экономической сфере, я имею в виду нелегитимные санкции, о которых все хорошо знают, но высшие должностные лица ведущих стран НАТО допускают и агрессивные высказывания в адрес нашей страны. Поэтому приказываю министру обороны и начальнику генерального штаба перевести силы сдерживания российской армии в особый режим несения боевого дежурства.
What is Putin plans for Ukraine? Well, he wants to install a pro-Moscow puppet regime. How far is Putin willing to go? Chechnya. He will destroy the whole of Ukraine if need be to achieve his objective, just as he did in Chechnya, razing the capital Grozny to the ground. He doesn't care about how many people he kills. He'll kill hundreds of thousands of Ukrainians to achieve his goal. That is where this is heading. So despite all the brave talk amongst Ukrainian military and political leaders, I'm afraid it's likely already game over for Ukraine. Putin has already won the war because he will do whatever needs to be done. If he needs to flatten Kiev, he will flatten Kiev. He will get the artillery within range and let rip. That's probably what he's planning at the moment. Clear, make the ground safe, bring in the artillery, issue an ultimatum, surrender or be destroyed, and then destroy the capital. So, and this is all whilst the clueless in the mainstream media continue to talk gobbledygook about how if the war goes on for several weeks or months, Putin could fall from power, bringing forth ordinary Russians to make statements on their little smartphones about how they are against the war and showing coverage of anti-war demos that risk bringing Putin down. Totally clueless reporting. Understand this. Putin has already won the war in Ukraine. Once Ukraine has been digested, he will turn his attention to his next target, because now with all the the West cutting all the bridges, literally, SWIFT payments gone. On Monday there's going to be a little mini crash in Russian stocks. I'd expect them to dive down by 30% when markets open. Yeah, I'm going to capitalise on that as well. So, once Ukraine has been digested, it will turn its attention to the next target, the Baltic states. And World War III is coming a lot sooner to you than you can imagine. Those in the West are far removed from Ukraine. Might imagine the war is distant. Well, folks, get ready for the war to come knocking on your computer screen. Cyber war. Going to range with a vengeance that will hit key vulnerable infrastructure such as banking. So what do? Well, apart from reviewing one's digital security, including backups, in case you get infected, you have to go back to a backup to bring your systems back up. So if you've not done a backup, now's a good time. Make a backup on an external drive and put it away. Full system backup. You can do periodic backups, but I'm getting sidetracked here, aren't I? Forget that. I'm not going to go anymore on that. So, apart from backups, you could go on the hunt for crash cyber security corporations. Maybe the likes of Palantir at $11 is finally a buy, maybe not. There's plenty out there. That's just one that comes to mind. Poster child of ARC garbage funds. Anyway, Putin sending a message to the whole of Eastern Europe that should be worried, as once Russia digests Ukraine, and if Putin is still in power, then he will likely turn his attention to his next target, probably the Baltic states. Hence, we are on the path towards World War III. It also sends a message to former USSR states such as Moldova, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and the rest of what happens if they even consider wanting to join NATO. He's not going to mess around. If he took the biggest chunk of the former USSR out, what do you think he's going to do to Uzbekistan? Putin's best buddy in China is probably already instructing his high command to prepare the ground for an invasion of Taiwan, as my video of how things could go down in a show-off between China and the US in the Taiwan Strait illustrates. However, that was 6 months ago. I think now it will be more a Blitzkrieg. I don't think they will let this it would be a surprise attack on Taiwan. There'll be no warning. They won't allow the US to bring its naval forces into play. It will be a barrage of missiles and aircraft bombing round just a full spectrum barrage, to which Taiwan could counter-strike to some effect with its own missiles and aircraft, but I think it'll be a lightning war. It'll be done within hours, including the ships landing, everything. It will be done fast, so it doesn't allow for the US to set sail. It might need a week, a couple of weeks, so they're not going to flag their intentions ahead. It will be a lightning war. That's what I think anyway. Before I thought they would mass up slowly and they would confront each other and they would have a big massive sea battle which China would win, obviously, because it's got a lot more to bear down than its aircraft. Instead, I think it's going to be a lightning war with little warning. They're just going to launch all the missiles and aircraft, just obliterate, and then landings, taking out all the military targets and taking out the command structure. That's what China will do. It'll be done within. It won't be like Ukraine. It'll be done within 24 hours. The US won't have time to react. What about sanctions? They're a big fat joke. The West has got his knickers in a twist, with nations by the hour, day by day, announcing ever wider, broader sanctions against Putin's regime as if they're going to make any effect on Putin. Zero effect. That's why you got to target Putin. Sanctions are not going to affect Putin. They're going to make him go even further, accelerate his lunacy. For every sanction, there will be a reciprocal action. In fact, the West has over 300 billion invested in Russia. Sanctions could see most of that go up in smoke as Russia seizes foreign investments, which is why actual sanctions will be relatively mild. There's talk of banning, well, they've already banned, there was talk of, they banned it from SWIFT. I thought it's probably not going to happen, because then the West won't have any more bullets left to fire. No more financial bullets, that is. And what else can they do after? They can't, that's it. The SWIFT was the nuclear option, and they pressed the nuclear button. And as soon as they did that, Russia uprated its nuclear stance. And as for capitalizing on the war, well, as I've been flagging well ahead of the invasion for a good month now, what I was going to do, which is to buy GRSL, that's the JP Morgan Russian Investment Trust, listed on London, but they'll probably have listings elsewhere as well. After all, it's JP Morgan. And the chart illustrates where I'd place my 4 big buy orders again, as I flagged well ahead of time. I think that I was buying big below £5. Start buying big below £5. In fact, my first order at £4.92 was executed on Thursday's London Open at £4.69, and then I had 2 more orders were executed. So 3 of the 4 big orders were executed, with 1 remaining at £3.33. And I'm also looking to buy, well, I am buying some individual Russian stock, but they're too high risk to mention, so I'm not going to mention. It's a case of either being 10x heroes or 0. We don't know where things are going, but at least the JP Morgan Russian Trust will survive to the other side. You can't say the same for individual stocks. So, how can Russians save the world? Well, by removing Putin from power by either Omicron look, or direct action by perhaps a bodyguard taking a direct action to bring Putin's war in Europe to a abrupt halt. Until then, Heil Hydra. And this video was an excerpt from my latest extensive analysis focused on continuing to capitalize on the downward spiral in stock prices in response first to inflation panic, and now added war panic. Covers extensive analysis of what I expect to happen, the current state of my AI stocks portfolio, high risk stocks portfolio, and comprehensive analysis of 50 growth stocks that have obviously come down in price somewhat to varying degree. And I also do a further in-depth analysis of the top 5 picks from that 50 short list of stocks. And all of that was first made available to patrons who support my work. So for immediate first access to all of my analysis and trend forecasts, then do consider becoming a patron by supporting my work for just $4 for a month. That's nothing really, especially when you consider inflation is devaluing the value of the dollar. And you gain access to my other timely analysis on how to invest during the panic of 2022, to be followed by scheduled analysis that continues my trend forecast into the end of 2022, as well as analysis of UK house prices, and I'll include an update for US and a quick look at Canada and China's housing market. And then there's a forthcoming piece on how to get rich. This is not the usual garbage. This is hardcore, concise steps on how to get rich. Then I'll look at the US dollar and British pound. British pound's coming down slightly, which is not surprising since this flight to safety. It could come down a lot further, but I'll leave that for my forthcoming analysis. And finally, I look at gold prices. That's my schedule. Gold is not top priority. I want to pile into crashed tech stocks that have got great potential for the future. I don't want to. Well, it should go up during inflation, gold, but it's not a priority. Anyway, do consider becoming a patron by supporting my work for just $4 per month as we ride the AI megatrend into the future, the quantum AI megatrend.